Good evening. Tonight we are joined from Nashville by Ashlie Amber. So it's afternoon for you. You're in Nashville as last night you played as part of the Song Suffragette show in the Listening Room Cafe.
Yes.
We're still in lockdown over here. So what's it like to be back on stage again?
Honestly, man, it's like a dream. I mean, it's been almost a year since I've been on stage like that in front of actual people. I've done a couple live streams, but you know, it's not quite the same thing. So to be able to be in front of people and to feed off of them and to get to perform, you know, my new songs that I've written and get feedback and see how the audience responds, it was incredible. Like, it was so much fun. I had a blast last night.
So when you're on stage with other artists, what kind of inspiration can you get from their work?
You know, working with other artists, and especially like with Song Suffragettes, it's all women. So you get to hear different, you know, vocal stylings, and you get to hear different vocal, cadences and how they write their music and the kind of chord progressions they use. So it's really kind of cool to see how eclectic each writer. There was 5 of us on stage, and I honestly was just absorbing everybody's talent and just absorbing their lyrical content. I really listened to lyrics and how people are putting their lyrical content together. And so I was really inspired by that last night. That was one of my big takeaways.
So we continue to kind of see the large scale events being cancelled due to the pandemic, including obviously CMA Fest just about an hour ago. They announced it was cancelled. So how vital is it that the smaller venues like the Listening Room are opening up in Nashville?
It's so crucial because, I mean, us as artists, we need to be able to have an outlet. And don't get me wrong, technology is amazing because, hey, look at us right now. We're able to have this conversation, and we're 2 completely different countries and completely different time zones. But at the same time, it's just not the same. Live performance and live music, we have it for a reason because it allows people an escape from whatever reality they might be living in. And so to leave your home, to go to a venue, to watch a show, and to be able to escape from all the things that normally surround you is amazing. And that's what music and live performance is all about. And so to have the Listening Room and other venues like, you know, Live Oak and, Puckett's, which are really great places for write-arounds, which I've also performed in over this past weekend. It's amazing. It's amazing to have that connection and to be able to give that, you know, to our fans.
So in these early stages of your career, have you kind of got any favorite hotspots to play in Nashville?
Not yet, but I must say, making my debut at the Listening Room, which is an iconic venue. I mean, anybody who's anybody in country music has played at the Listening Room. So to be able to say that to my manager, maybe like a couple months ago, being like, hey, I want to play at the Listening Room. Like, it's a dream. Like, I really want to, you know, have that staple in my career. And then, just like a couple months later, get to debut there. It was absolutely amazing. And the venue is incredible. The people are so nice. The sound, the lights, the videography that they do, it was just incredible. So I'm definitely a huge fan of that venue right now.
So being based between Las Vegas and Nashville, is it kind of nice to be back around the music scene in Nashville?
Oh my gosh, it's so nice. Like, when I go to Vegas, and I know this sounds crazy because when people think of Vegas, they think of like, yay, let's go party and we're going to stay up for like 48 hours straight and like do shots and like alcohol. You know what I mean? That's what people, when they think of Vegas. But when I'm home in Vegas, it's actually really quiet. I'm like 20 minutes away from the Strip. So it's really domestic. It's really quiet. It's really peaceful. So I just kind of get to relax, and I don't even think my like neighbors know what I do at all, which is awesome. Because when I come here, you know, as soon as I'm out, and I have a production, team that follows me around with cameras and stuff like that. So people are always like, here in Nashville, like, who is that? Like, who are you? Or they're like, hey, I just saw you on, the Nashville morning show today. Or, hey, I just saw you here. So it's really nice to, have those two different sides of just get to chill in my sweats, watch Netflix, hang out with my new puppy Guinness, and then come here, be diva, be fierce, and get to sing and perform and all the things that go with it.
You released your latest track, Those Nights, on Fridays, just a few days ago, and this was your first self-penned release. Does it have that kind of extra special feel to it, knowing it was all your work?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I've released, 3 singles before this, and I love those singles so much, but to be able to share 100% my voice, I wrote every lyric and melody myself, and then Morgan Matthews did the musical composition for it, and he actually just landed a #1 single with Alicia Keys on the US adult R&B Billboard charts. So like, he's amazing, and he's got #1s in like other countries and stuff like that. He's phenomenal. So to have, the song be myself, but to also be teamed up with him on the composition side of it, I couldn't have asked for a better first self-penned release of my career. And the response has been incredible. I mean, we've gotten playlisted. And for me, this is a big deal because I haven't been playlisted yet. And like I said, I've already released 3 singles. So for me to finally get playlisted with the song that I wrote myself is just so amazing. And we hit 3 really big Spotify editorial playlists. And we also reached Apple Music editorial playlists. And Apple Music is really hard to get into on their editorial side. So I'm just over the moon. So excited.
Now, talking of the playlist, so you were on New Music Nashville, which has over 60,000 followers. What kind of impact do you notice on like release day with it being on that playlist?
Oh my gosh, my streams are just through the roof, and my following, like, just overnight has just like shot up, like the people following me on Spotify. And so to have New Music Nashville and then to land, Wild Country, which has, 800,000, likes and listeners on that playlist is just like, I'm still not sure if it's real. I might be dreaming a little bit because it's just really exciting. And what I love the most about it, because, there's an artist, platform where we can like view the back end of things, and we can see the streams and like where they're coming from. And what my favorite thing is I can look at the streams on my back end, which isn't updated until like 24, 48 hours later on like the actual Spotify. It's a little bit behind, but I can see everything on my back end, and to see the amount of streams that I have coming from all the other playlists, which is, but my streams are over double of what's coming through those playlists, which means that the people who are listening to my song are listening to it multiple times, not just once, which is one of the biggest compliments you can get as an artist. And especially for me, again, with my first self-penned release, I just couldn't have asked for more. So
you've labeled yourself as Country Vogue.
I have.
How do you describe Country Vogue?
So Country Vogue is a lifestyle. So my music is very country. Sometimes it's got like Those Nights has a little bit more of like an R&B influence, but my next single, Runnin', is definitely country, with a little bit more of a pop influence. So but we use live instruments. We're using all the top Nashville musicians. My producer, Jamie Tate, is one of the top producers in Nashville and has, Grammys and Emmys and like 20 #1s that, he's on. So everything is super authentic country, but the Vogue side comes in with the fashion and the hair. Comes in with the hair because I am different. I was getting a little bit of pushback on my image because I'm not that traditional, country girl next door image. And I was like, that's because I'm not, the traditional girl next door. I'm fashion, like I'm country Vogue. And so that's really what it's about. It's about being country, having this amazing music that is country, it's storytelling, it's authentic. But then on the other side, you know, I'm rocking this huge frohawk, and you know, I have a photo on Instagram where I have this, you know, purple fuchsia dress with these, you know, cowgirl boots and this like beaded like top that's like practically nothing. And it's just really cool to be able to incorporate the two together of country and fashion.
So what are some of the comments then you've had about your hairstyle?
Everybody loves it. I mean, we walked down Broadway just the other day. We were checking out some venues and just having some fun. My mom's hanging out with me this week. So we wanted to see a little bit more of Nashville other than just having to work. And we were able to get some really great footage, and people would just they just come up to me and they're just like, oh my gosh, your hair, oh, it's so beautiful, and your style, like you're just so this. And it's really magnetic. It's very fascinating because it's not just one type of person that compliments my hair. It's every type of person you can possibly think of sees my hair and it's just like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And it just starts conversations with people that I probably I wouldn't normally talk to. And I think that's a really cool thing, that hair can, bring, people to you and spark new conversations and maybe even new friendships and new fans as well too. So it's exciting.
Now, I understand you kind of started a few years ago on a cruise ship doing sort of a Whitney Houston show. So where have the country influences come for you?
So yeah, I was traveling all over the world doing a Whitney Houston celebration. And that was something, I worked really hard for it, but it was just kind of part of my journey. So I'm from Thornton, Colorado, which is the suburbs of Denver. And it's not a very diverse area at all. And so everybody there listened to country. They listened to country and top 40. And so that's when I fell in love with country. So I started listening to, Shania Twain and Leanne Rimes and Faith Hill, Garth Brooks, Tim McGraw, the Dixie Chicks, Sarah Evans, Leanne Womack, like all of those artists are artists that I grew up listening to. In addition to, of course, Beyonce, Destiny's Child, and, Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson and Prince. Like I'm very eclectic when it comes to my music. But that's when I first fell in love with it, but I didn't pursue it because nobody took me seriously. And, so I had to be a chameleon because all I wanted to do was I wanted to sing. And so I kind of had to take a scenic route, and quite literally the scenic route, since I've been to like 72 countries performing. But all of those things finally led me back to right where I am today, which is getting to do what I've always wanted to do, which is to write music, to share my music, and, to be able to be, a voice in a genre of music that lacks, diversity and women's. So it's just an honor, and I'm just really thankful.
So you had your kind of first shot at fame about 10 years back on American Idol.
No. Mm-hmm.
What was sort of that experience like of getting to the Hollywood stage?
Yeah, it was very interesting. American Idol is an incredible platform. It's definitely not for everybody, but if you are one of the people that is lucky enough, to make it to the finals, to where it can literally launch your career, like, Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood. And even if you don't make it, we have Jennifer Hudson, I think she made it to the top 6 or something like that. There's been a lot of successful people from that show, and it's really launched a lot of careers. And for me, it was just a great experience, and I'm really proud to say that I'm a part of it, because it's a really grueling process. You don't just show up and be like, hey, I can sing, put me on the show. You have to go through multiple rounds and multiple auditions, and over an extended period of time. Like, the season that I was on, like it was like 6 months, like a drawn out like process, and there's legal paperwork and background checks, and there's psychology, like tests, and like just all sorts of things to make sure that you're able and ready to go through. But then in addition to that stuff, of course, it's all about story and things like that. And unfortunately, they're just not looking for certain stories. Those types of shows really seek for people who would not normally be in the music industry, that are like, oh, I've never sang before, but I'm just kind of giving it a go. So you kind of learn that when you're on the shows, but still, regardless, I'm very thankful for the experience. And I have quite a few friends from the season that I was on, and all of us are still performing. We're just performing in different ways, which I think is pretty amazing.
Now, you released a couple of tracks last year, including My Revenge, which came out right at the start of lockdowns, pretty much. I think it was mid-April, wasn't it?
Yes.
So how does it kind of compare this time where you can go out and perform on release weekend?
It's amazing. Last time when I released My Revenge, it was actually on my birthday, and I did a live Facebook stream from my living room. And I got two of my best friends, one to play guitar and one to sing harmony. And it was a lot of fun, but to be able to get to sing it again in front of people and to actually get the response from the audience of how they react to the song, it's incredible. And I'm just so happy that we are able to do these performances, and with smaller crowds, social distancing, everybody's, people are wearing their masks except for us on stage, but we're socially distanced on stage as well. And so to be able to do that, it's just incredible. But I cannot wait to be able to go back to the bigger performances and get to go to CMA Fest and get to do these festivals and get to do these concerts and tours again. Really, really looking forward to that. Hopefully coming sooner rather than later. Fingers crossed.
So with 4 releases out now, have you kind of got a favorite track that you released yet?
Well, of course I'm biased, and it's Those Nights, since it's the one that I wrote. But that's such a hard question because each song is so special. They each have their own story, and they each show a different texture of my voice. Almost Love was my introductory into Nashville, into the country music scene, and it's just sweet, it's beautiful, it's so melodic, it's got some really great textures that Jamie got out of me. And then my second single, My Revenge, is more of like power ballad and like girl power, and it's like, I'm not gonna let you ruin my day, and my revenge is that I'm gonna see you and be like, I'm good. And I love that song. And then Fight With You is it's got more of like a pop feel to it, and it's not really focusing on these big power notes. It's more focusing on tone and the melody. And so again, all of them offer something different. So it's really hard to say, but again, I'll go with Those Nights since it's near and dear to my heart since I wrote it.
But I understand Those Nights isn't just the only song you kind of self-penned. I understand you wrote 14 songs in 14 days. Is that correct?
You are correct. I went on a writing binge. Somebody in the industry told me that I wasn't authentic enough. And I know exactly what he meant by that. But instead of taking offense to it, or instead of, being like, how dare you say that? I was just like, all right, cool. I'll show you authentic. And I went home and I wrote 14 songs in 14 days. And the first one, of course, the first one of those 14 was actually Those Nights. It was the very first song that I wrote from beginning to end, by myself. And it's the first song we recorded as well as the first song we released. So there's a lot of symbolism behind this particular release as well.
What did you do on day 15 then?
Day 15, I rested. I watched Netflix on day 15 and drank lots of wine.
So you've spoken about working with Jamie Tate, who's won Grammys and things for his sort of previous work. When you work with people like that, do you kind of look at the previous artists they've worked with, or you just kind of go, okay, you've done that and let's get on with it?
I mean, of course, like I look, you know, after I met him and before I met him, I'd already looked him up and stuff like that, because, you know, when he agreed that he wanted to meet with me, and that was all set up through my manager, Dawn Ellis Gatlin, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's like literally worked with everybody in the business. He's worked with, you know, Taylor Swift, Carrie Underwood, Justin Moore, like Lee Brice, you know, Florida Georgia Line, Chase Rice, like all these incredible people, you know, he's worked with. And he also, you know, has a Grammy and an Emmy. But you walk in, when I walked into the studio, he was so welcoming. He was so humble, and never once, even still to this day, he doesn't bring up any of that, like none of it, because he's just so humble. He's like, yeah, like I did it, and he's super proud, but he just loves to create music and loves to create, you know, good music and music that people will listen to, and this is what he's dedicated his whole life doing. So he's just proud to be doing that, you know. Especially when a lot of studios have closed down, and because so many people are doing at-home studios and things like that. So he just loves what he does, and he's so supportive, and he's amazing to work with.
So you've spoken about obviously achieving the goal of playing in the listening room already this year, and we're only in March. What can we look forward to being in the pipeline then for you now for the rest of the year?
Well, my team and I have a lot of amazing stuff. There are a couple things I cannot talk about just yet, but we do have my debut music video is going to be coming out at the end of March for those nights, and it is amazing. And being biased aside, like I'm so proud of it. When I watched it, I actually cried because it's just so beautiful. And we also have an acoustic version that is completely different. It's almost like they could be two different songs of those nights that will be coming out in a couple months, as well as a music video for that one as well. And that's more of like behind the scenes and like making of, you know, the song and the recording process and things like that, which has been beautifully shot. And I just recorded a song with a kind of like it's not kind of, it's female empowerment. It's called Glow, and that will be coming out at the end of March with 9 other powerhouse, you know, country and pop singers on that. And I'm one of the 9 featured in that. And we're doing a music video that we're shooting in a couple weeks, which will be coming out as well. And then shortly after all that, my next single will drop. And with that will come, you know, a lyric video, will come another music video, will become, you know, some behind the scenes content. And then we already have planned the next single after that, which I'll be releasing a Christmas single. And of course, with that, we're going to do a music video and all the things. So we're very busy. And there's also one more single in there. We're going to release 2 more singles, I think, before the Christmas single. So there's a lot going on.
2021 is going to be your year, isn't it, really?
2021 is going to be my year, and Nashville has been so supportive, and, you know, now officially being a part of, you know, the Country Music Association is a really big deal, because I'm officially a part of, you know, the Nashville community and the Nashville family. And, you know, you have to meet certain criteria in order to be a member of it. So I'm just really, really excited for this year, and so many opportunities, and I can't wait to share some of the stuff that I do have coming up that I can't talk about, because it is just amazing. And yeah, we just have so many things planned, and it's basically every day something new pops up and something new happens. It's awesome.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, you're over on our Instagram account as well, posting away, doing some questions, which has been great to watch.
I am posting, and then I'm going to be posting you guys an acoustic version of those nights for you guys on IGTV. And also I'll be making some more appearances in the story. And who knows, maybe I'll pop something really fun and exclusive for you guys on your feed as well. So, IG takeover is real right now.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for supporting my music. And I really appreciate it so much. And I hope you have an amazing night.
No, you too. Have a great day in Nashville.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.